Hello, today I'm gonna be playing Soul Resomance. I found on itch.io because I'm desperate for anything Stein. Um I can only play like 10 minutes of it as per like the rules on the page. So let's speed this up. Okay. A lone figure stood at the entrance of a graveyard, his long black cloak billowing behind him from the force of the wind. Letting out a small sigh to repress his disgust, he took a couple steps forward. The dry ground crunched under his feet, dust clouds forming behind his trail. I guess, son. The tombstone over there is leading to the right. Oh shit, hi Liz. Here we go again. Wait, no, I can do better than that. The Reaper's brow twitched when he, by a crooked tombstone to the side of him, made him want to kneel down on the cool ground floor and forcefully straighten it. Honestly, what kind of groundskeeper didn't take proper care of his graveyard? Even the ground was unevenly leveled. It took everything in Kid to keep his head up and to walk forward, doing his best to ignore the horrors around him. The laughter of Patty was the only thing that could be heard in this desolate place. The only reason he was in a disgusting place like this was because of the strong presence he was getting from here. Strong wavelength was coming from this place, and Kid predicted that it was a rampant Kishin. It was the only solution he really had considering where the source is. No living person would want to reside in a place like this, after all. Patty transforms out of her weapon form and runs towards the cross, made out of metal.
Wait a minute, Patty. You don't know what that could Wait a minute, Patty. You don't know what could happen. This place is really giving me the creeps.
Patty, don't touch anything here. This is the resting place for the deceased after all. Even if this grave in particular is asymmetrical. Bro, she's so The kid followed after the hyperactive girl, finding her childish actions helpful since the wavelength had felt closer than before. He approached the tombstone. He looked around to see if there was a Kishin in sight. When he found no monstrous beast in sight, he looked around the grave site to find where the energy was coming from.
Patty, didn't I tell you not to touch that? Ah, it's glowing.
Whoa. Hearing Liz's distress, Kid turned around to find the older blonde freaking out. Patty was holding the cross up in the air now, the metal glinting in the moonlight. He made him carefully take the cross from Patty despite her whining. He could feel a powerful wavelength residing in this necklace, and it made him wonder what could possibly be inside of it. Brushing the edges carefully with his fingertips, his amber eyes widened when the cross left his hand and rose into the air. Dude, what could it be? All three of them could only stare in awe at the glowing necklace, wondering wondering what was actually going on. Get behind me, you two. When the light retreated, Kid blinked a few times to be able to focus on the sleeping figure that was forming right before his eyes. Liz stayed behind him, cowering at the sight before her, and let out a terrified scream. The female let out a whimper, wincing at the volume of Liz's screaming since it woke up the girl from her nap. She's a restless soul? I thought Honorable Father said that these beings were rare in finding. Why would one appear now, especially with this Usura gone? The girl looked at the three of them with a confused stare, trying to figure out what they were talking about. Hi, I am Curtis. Why am I... Why am I here in a place like this? The last thing I remember... The ghost reflected for a while, trying to figure out what she was doing here. When she finally came to conclusion, she felt more confused. Am I not alive? Gulp. There was a long silence between them. The girl wrapped her arms around herself as a sense of comfort.
What am I?
There was a long There's a long silence between them. No one dared to answer her question. You were killed a short while ago. Considering the strength of your soul, something like this is nearly impossible. She looked down at her ghostly pale body, examining the way how her clothes emitted a pale gleam, the clothes that she'd come to adore for so long, were even a part of her in the afterlife. The sudden shock of dying made her eyes widen. A shrill cry tore from her throat as she came to examine herself. If she was dead, then how is she still physically here? Do you remember what your name is? Your tombstone's letters are illegible to read, sadly. Oh, I'm Absol. Hey, I'm Absol. With her brow furrowed, she tried to reflect on her life before she died. She really didn't know what was worse, not remembering how she died or forgetting her past. I'm. My name. A painful jolt shot through her body, and she doubled over from the excruciating agony. A cry barely escaped her throat as her hands clutched her dark hair. Hey, kid, is she going to be alright? Kid looked up at the girl with an intense gaze, watching as she struggled to remember anything about herself. His honorable father once told him that spirits that continue to remain here fully remember their lives. Was this the same girl that he once knew? His eyes followed the jagged edges of the cross that rested in his hand. Curiously, he turned the cross over to further inspect the engraving on it. With widened eyes, he read the name aloud. Absol. That appears to be your name. I have reason to believe that's your name because this cross is your medium item. He didn't dare mention that they all knew each other, unsure of what unwanted stress might do to her. Medium item? Okay. Hear an explanation? It's basically an item that you had on you at the time when you passed away. Since these cases are so rare, we are only basing it off of previous experiences, but it should still apply to you. It's what connects you to the earth and will be an item you use to pass on into the afterlife. Regardless, we can't just leave you here. You need to return with us to the DWMA. Okay. Excited to see Stein. Licks my chops. For some reason, she didn't seem to believe that everything would be alright, but did Kid really have the power to help her pass on? Kid met her hesitant gaze and gave a nod to reassure her. The girl obviously seemed lost, and he would be a failure to his honorable father if he didn't help her, especially since she was valued by everyone at the academy. I can tell you have some doubts about my capabilities. My honorable father has an entire collection of classified information. Even if I don't know the full answer now, that right there is the key to our success. Don't doubt Kid too much. Even though he used to be a symmetry freak, he's definitely developed over the years. Right, Kid? Liz gave Kid a reassuring pat on his left shoulder, small grin of confidence on her face, but the second she pulled her hand away, Kid's eyes twitched at the thought of his right side being left untouched. Right, anywho, let's get going, shall we? Kid coughed into his fist and summoned Beelzebub with ease. The shadows stretched along the dry cemetery ground. The girl couldn't help but shiver at the look of it. The skateboard, along with Kid's bright, vibrant soul wavelength, held an ominous power that made her feel lightheaded. It's already bad enough that we're out here past 8 o'clock. We still have much to do. As Kid continued his quiet monologue, the mist that surrounded the graveyard suddenly condensed, almost as if the environment was reacting to Kid. The girl couldn't help but clutch her head, trying to ignore the sudden dizziness that overcame her. Kid, I don't think Absol looks so good. She looks like she's about to... Gulp. Without warning, the girl slumped forward and would have hit the ground if it weren't for Kid catching her. Feeling a bit panicked, Kid hurriedly took the cross and held it up to the girl's forehead. A blinding light emitted it, too, and when it faded, the girl disappeared along with it.
Where'd the ghost girl go?
She's resting inside the necklace. You have to be careful since she's just awakened. Her soul is very weak. When we get back home, I'll need to take her to Stein. Yes! At the mention of the mad scientist, Liz and Pazzy looked over at each other before looking at the dim gleam of the cross gave up from around Kid's neck. Yeah. They both transformed back into their weapon form. The twins secured in each hand, Kid took off into the direction of the academy. He really wanted to give it his best effort in helping this frail girl. Deep down, he was truly hoping to himself that his newly awakened powers would be enough to help her. When he told her that he was powerful enough to do so, it was more of a reassurance to himself than to her. Okay. Maybe... is that where we leave off? Oh, yeah, basically. Well, okay. Yeah, check out the game on, itch.io. I'll link it in the description, too.
Yeah.